everybody. Happy Wednesday. I have to think about what day it is. It's like, geez, it's been fun doing the Wednesday nights. I hope you like the Wednesday evening lives. It's nice for me to come home and do a class when I get off work. So I apologize for the fan above my head, but it's a little warm in my sewing room tonight, so I have to have the fan on to keep me from boiling to death. I don't like to turn the air conditioner on. It's like right next to me and it's kind of noisy. So how is everybody tonight? We had a bunch of new people join the group. So welcome if you're new. And we're going to have a drawing tonight. So for those of you who are new tonight, the way you get entered to win the drawing at the end of the class is to make a comment. So just make a comment in the comments and in the comment panel, and then you'll get entered to win in the drawing. So hello, everybody. Yeah, we had quite a few new people coming. I think maybe from a Facebook group. So if you're from that group, was it a Facebook group that people were telling me they heard that I was giving a class on Canvas Workspace on a Facebook group. So if you know what group that is, let me know. That was cool. Hello. So we're going to talk about Canvas Workspace, and there's been a couple of comments already that I've been trying to answer that I want to. I'm going to talk a little bit about Canvas Workspace. We're going to talk about the one that is the downloadable version tonight. In the past, I've always used the one that's online, and so I'll show you what they look like, the difference in them. I do have a video. If some of you are wanting to use the browser version of the software, if you go to Sew Along with Jan and go to the playlist, and I'll link it in the video below here too. If you go to the playlist, the Brother Scan and Cut playlist, there's also a beginning Canvas Workspace class that is done in the online version as well. So if that's the one you use and you like to use that, but somebody asked what the difference is, so I'll show you what the two of them look like, because we're going to have to log in for a minute anyway. And then I will show you what the differences are. So hi, everybody. So thank you for finding me on YouTube. I do apologize for not being able to do the lives on Facebook as well. I know that some of you like Facebook, but Facebook changed a bunch of things in April. And so I can't easily stream into both YouTube and Facebook anymore. Facebook has made it very difficult for me to go into a group. And so this is way easier for me, and it's much more fun for me to come in and teach than trying to figure out all these numbers and copying and pasting and all these crazy things I have to do. So anyway, I have decided just to do YouTube. So all of our lives, it'll be the first and third Wednesdays of the month at 7:00 will be on YouTube. So those of you who are not sure about how to do comments, there'll be a comment panel right next to, if you're watching on a computer, there's a comment panel to the right of the screen, and you can go ahead and just type your comments in there. You do have to log in, so you have to be like logged into your Google account or whatever, or into your browser account. So to do that. So I'm glad you're looking forward to Canvas Workspace. So I have been working with Canvas Workspace quite a lot lately because I've been doing a lot of cutting, and I had to learn more about this part of the software in order to do some of the cutting I've been wanting to do. So yep. So I will put, and those of you who are in the Facebook group, I will put a link to this video, and I can schedule them, and then I'll have a link for you. All you have to do is click the link, and it'll bring you right over here to YouTube, to the video. So right from the Facebook group. So if you go to the Facebook group, it'll bring you right over here. Okay. And then there's also, like, on my Facebook page, like if you go to my my YouTube channel, there'll be a little place that says upcoming video, and you can just click on that. So I don't mind. I like Facebook. See, I started on Facebook. But I do really like YouTube, and they make it easy for me as a presenter to stream into YouTube. So that's what we're going to do. And I apologize if anybody's upset. And I also wanted to tell you that if you're watching like on a television, you can have your phone or your like a tablet, and you can go to the same video in the app, and then you can make comments there. So somebody was asking me, how do I make a comment when I'm watching on the television? So I usually just have my phone sitting here, and I go to the same video on my phone, and then I can just make comments from my phone then. And there's an app usually like on your phones or your tablets. So you can do that. Hi, everybody. Okay, so I'm going to show you so again, we're going to have a drawing at the end of the class tonight. Okay. And this week's free little giveaway here is going to be a couple things. So of course, we needed to have a scan and cut giveaway. So I have one of the little toolboxes I made in another video. And so I'll link this in the video below here too in the description. So this is the little scan and cut toolbox that I made in another video a while back. So that'll be one of the prizes. And then also I have another one of the little cards that sits up on your shelf or something that says any day spent sewing is a good day. Because I think most of us are also sewers that are here. So, okay. Yeah, I like to watch on TV too. So I usually watch on TV, and then I just have my phone there and I can make comments that way. So you've never learned to use it, Jacqueline? Well, we will figure that out for you. We will help you. I have to say though, with the software, our machines are so nice because we actually have, our machines have a lot of, abilities right on the machine, unlike most cutting machines. And I've had a lot of other cutting machines, and I still have other cutting machines, but our software is maybe not as robust as some of the other companies' software, but our machines have a lot right in the machine. And so we don't have to use software. I honestly don't use software hardly at all. I mean, so often when I teach these classes, as you may have seen, and if you go to my YouTube channel and go to the Brother Scan and Cut playlist, I often don't use any software at all when I teach classes, because we can do a lot with our machines without software. However, there are some things I've been doing lately that I've had to have software. So I wanted to let you know too, tonight we're going to talk about basic Canvas Workspace. Okay. I'm going to go through the menus and kind of explain things. I'm not going to get completely in depth on everything. I want you to know how to get into the software, how to register it, and so on. Okay. But then I've also got a video for you that I'm going to upload after the class tonight that I did something more in depth about working with SVG files. And this is something that I've been working on quite a bit lately. And I've struggled with SVG files for years because they're not the native format for our scan and cut. So I've always struggled with SVG files a little bit. And they don't always talk nice to our scan and cut. Let's put it that way. So anyway, I made a video for you about working with scan and cut, the scan and cut and SVG files, and we'll be using the software we're going to be talking about tonight. So I will go ahead and upload that video right after class as well. Okay. You bought your box, Maureen. Okay, that's what you meant. You bought your little box for the little toolbox. Yeah, to do the little video. So yeah, so this will be the prizes tonight. Okay, so make sure you're making comments. Okay. Oh, you just use the rhinestone function in the Canvas Workspace. You can actually use that in the online one too. So I've used that. I use the online one most of the time. And the reason being, when I was teaching classes, people had Macs and people had PCs, Windows computers. And the software looks a little different between the two. It's not as different now as it was originally. So just so you know, that's why I often taught with the online version, because then everybody was looking at the same screen. So it helped. People weren't quite as confused. So that's why I used it most of the time. Okay, so I'm going to turn this banner off. Let me give me a second here. All right, and then let's just go to the software. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you. It's going to take a second here. I'm going to share my screen with you. I always have to get the right buttons. They've changed a lot of things on here lately. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and I am going to go into my browser here. Oh, the second, I want to get rid of me. You don't need to watch me. I'm gonna turn me off. There we go. Okay. All right. So you can see my desktop now. What we're gonna do is actually I want to go to this tab here. So the first thing we're gonna do, and my first point in my notes was, you know, I use the online version most of the time, and this is where I'm gonna go to actually set up my account, and that's the best way to do it. But I'm going to show you how to get the downloadable version that we're going to be doing tonight. Okay, so we're going to go to our browser here, and I'm going to type in Canvas Workspace, if I can spell tonight, workspace.brother.com. Okay, so if you have not done this at all, this is the first thing you need to do is go to canvasworkspace.brother.com. because we need an account first, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring this up. So this is the main page. And in order to make an account, and I'm not going to go through all of this because a lot of you have already done this, but I think you can walk through this. If you do not have an account with Canvas Workspace, the first thing you would do is hit the register button up here, okay? So hit your register button. And then it's going to go through and it's going to ask you, you know, all your questions, and you have to scroll to the bottom and you have to agree. And then you hit register and then you fill out all your name and you make your password and your username and all that. So I think most of you have done that kind of stuff before. So I wasn't planning on doing all that tonight. I am going to log into this though, because I want to show you the difference. So this is this is not the downloadable version. This is where you go to get to the online version. You can actually use the online version as well, and it's slightly different on a tablet. So I've often used this like on my tablet, my Android tablet. You can just go to the same website, canvasworkspace.brother.com, and log in, and it gives you like a tablet version of this software as well. So, all right, so I'm just going to log in so I can show you what this looks like. And this is what you would do if you were to log into the online version. Okay, so it does look quite a little bit different than the one we're going to go into shortly. But I just wanted you to see, so you know, it comes up to our patterns, or all these freebie designs, and then you click new over here, okay, to get to the actual workplace part, the workspace part. Okay, so this is the online version, as you can see, and it works great. I've never had any problems using this software, and but it does not give me all the tools that that I can get with my downloadable version. However, some of the designs, if you've worked in this version, which I have, this little button here on the left that says My Projects, these designs are online. They do not transfer to the downloadable version. So if you have a lot of stuff in here, what I do when I need to work with these, which I have tons of designs in here, I go and download them to my computer so that I can bring them into the downloadable version of the software that we're going to be working with tonight, and then save them on my computer. Because people have been asking me that quite a bit about this. So this is what the online version looks like. To get there, you go to canvasworkspace.brother.com and you log in. Okay. When the other thing I often do here is, like, after I get my account, this is why I logged into here to show you. Usually when I need to like connect my Scan and Cut to my software, I go to the online version like this. And then to do the, you can also do this in the downloadable version. I'll show you that in a little bit, but I usually just set up my Scan and Cut here. After I got my registration, I just set up my Scan and Cut here so that it would work wirelessly. And I'd go into where my name is up here on the right-hand side. It says, and hopefully you can see that. Okay. Yeah. So it just says like a little person's head and my name here. And if I go to that in here and then hit machine registration, you can then go in and you can click register a new machine. And then it will walk you through registering your Canvas Workspace account to your machine so you can send things wireless. Okay, so it's not hard. I have also done a video on this that's specifically just this item. A lot of you probably have already done this. So I would just hit register a new machine, and then it tells you you have to do a couple of things first in the software, and then the software will give you a number that you got to put into your scan and cut in the settings. Okay, so I did that on this online version first. That's what I do. Somebody asked about Artspira. So Artspira, what I do, I set up my machine, my scan and cut machine, and I think it was Ann, yeah. And I set up my scan and cut machine with my Canvas Workspace account first, and then I log into Artspira with the Canvas Workspace account, and then it's already set up for you. That's what I do when I use Artspira. It's way easier, and then I just added my sewing machines to my Artspira account. So if you do all of the setup in your Canvas Workspace first, get your scan and cut set up, and then log into Artspira. That's what I do. It's way easier, and then there's less things to set up. Okay? All right, so this is the online version. So you can do a bunch of stuff here. It's a really great version, and it's very good for basic operations, but there's a lot of things that are not here. And I will mention those things as we go through the version that's on the PC. Okay, so let's go ahead and log out of here. I want to show you where to go get the downloadable version. So when you get to this, canvasworkspace.brother.com, this main screen, okay, if you scroll down, just keep scroll down the page a little ways until you get about halfway down and see where it says Canvas Workspace here. It says download your software. So this is where you download the software. Cindy, I'm not for sure how many machines you can register. I know you can do at least 3 because I've had 3. So if your screen is blurry, JD, if your screen is blurry, go down to the bottom right-hand corner where there's a little cog wheel. It's the settings in YouTube, and make sure you're set up to be at 720 because YouTube sometimes defaults at a very slow, very low quality picture. And make sure that you're in, it's like right down on the bottom right-hand corner. It looked like a little cog wheel, okay? Yeah, I like the online version because it has all the basic tools, but some of the stuff I've been learning now, and in the other video that I'm going to upload to you, you will see that there's some stuff that is not in that online version that there's some of the stuff I just couldn't do the same way. It would be way harder with this version. So here's a downloadable version. So you just scroll down the page. Here it is. And there's a little button right here, and it says download software. So just download it to your computer, your downloads folder, your desktop, wherever you like to download things, and then double click on it and install it to your computer. Okay. You will log into that with the same credentials that you use on your online version. Okay. So that's usually what I do. I like to go to the website. I like to click log in, or in this case, in your case, if you haven't done it yet, register, set up all my stuff, set up my machine there, and then I log out, and then you can download the downloadable version. Okay. Oh, did you not know that? Did it work, Ann? Yeah. So some people tell me on Facebook that if it looks a little blurry, there's a little cog wheel, and sometimes YouTube doesn't give you the best quality video. So just change it and then it will go back. So, okay. All right. So you know where now to download your software. By the way, when you logged in to the online version, it used to have a little pop-up that would just let you download it from there, but they kind of stopped putting the pop-up up, and I had to find it for the download. It's just down the page here. So just go to that, canvasworkspace.brother.com and just download it right here. Okay. So that's what we're going to use tonight. So I'm going to close this browser window. and I'm going to go to my desktop. So here's my downloadable version. It looks like the little Canvas Workspace logo. And it usually tells you what they did last, one of the last updates they did. And then normally you can log in and stay logged in for 7 days, just so you know. So every 7 days you'll have to relog in. And I must have needed to do that because I'm going to have to log in. So I will log in here. I'm just going to click the little button that says stay logged in for 7 days so I don't have to do it every time I go on. Now, the other thing I want to tell you, and I have it in highlighted yellow here. Cindy, originally there was only one. It was the online version. That was the only version there was. And I think they had to do a downloadable version in order to do some of the things they wanted to do with some of the new premium functions. So I think that's why they did it. There was just some things that they had to add that needed to be on the computer to do it. So actually, no, the kits can be used on both, not all, but many of them can be used on both. Like the premium collection things, Kathy. So you can use them, some of them on both versions. But all of them can be used on Canvas Workspace that's downloadable, but you cannot use your Disney characters. So like if you have Disney cards like I do, I can't use them on this version. I have to go to the online version. So I'll show you that here in a second. Okay. So normally when this opens up, and I must have clicked it closed by accident, you get the little Canvas project pattern collection thing here open, just like we did on the online version. So these are the same lovely free designs. You can search, like if you were looking for your Advent tree, you could just search what you want there and it'll bring up what you want. Okay, so like we made that Advent tree around Christmas time. The other thing that's in here is the pattern collection. So like if you click on pattern collection, there's little tabs across the top here. If you click on pattern collection, it'll show you the ones that you have that are activated and not activated. So like I have quite a few. If it doesn't have the not activated there, you must have it. So I have quite a few designs. So that's the other thing that's here. Okay. And this is what I just talked about just a few minutes ago. Disney. If I click on Disney, open the web browser. So in other words, it will take you to the online version to use those Disney characters. So I do have quite a few Disney cards, and they're only on the online version. Again, Cynthia, the difference is when you go, this version here was downloaded to my computer. Okay. And this is running on my PC. However, you do need internet connection for either one of these. You have to have internet to make this software work. If you don't have internet, the software, neither one will work because one is on the browser and one is on your computer, but they're still connected to the internet. So you cannot run this without internet. And I do have a little problem in the fact that sometimes, the software is just down. I don't have it as much as I used to. It's way better than it used to be. So, but you do have to have internet to run this. And I showed a little bit earlier, Cynthia, if you were a little late getting here, I showed the difference in the two. We went to the website and logged in, and this is what we downloaded and installed on the computer. Okay. So they do look quite a little bit different. And if you have an account, you can just go log in and look at the difference. Okay. So here is this Canvas project collection deal. Okay. We talked about, this is all those projects that were free. Whoops, let me get rid of the search that I did. And then, and these are all free. These are so much fun to do. So you can just go through and pick out your stuff. You click on it and you can download them. I think the reason it's only online is that you cannot download anything to your computer that is Disney. They don't allow you to download anything. So it'll go to your machine, but it won't go to your computer. And if they let you use it in this version, it would actually be on your computer. So that's how they lock it. So, okay. All right. So If you need, let me see, I got to turn my note. If you lost your little Canvas project pattern collection window here, I'm just going to close it. So if you come up and you just have this and you want to see that again, it's this first little icon on the left up here. So it looks sort of like, well, you have to hover your mouse on here. So it says Canvas project pattern collection. It's the top left-hand corner out there, okay? Like that. Okay? So then that opens that back up again for you. Okay, so let's talk then about just the overview of our screen. As you can see, this does look a little different than what I showed you earlier online, doesn't it? I mean, it really looks quite a little bit different. The other reason I didn't use this a whole lot is that this software does not have any words. I just wished they'd put a word here instead of all these little icons, because then I can read faster than I can hover my mouse. So I have struggled a little bit with this, and I'm getting around in it way better. So we're going to probably be using this most of the time because of some of the things I can do with it. So, all right, so let's just talk about what's on the screen here so that you become familiar with what's here. There is a set of file menus at the top here. Okay, if I pull this down just a little bit, let me hide my screen sharing, and so I can pull this down just a little bit. So hopefully you can see okay. Up here at the top, there's File, Edit, Layer, Display, Premium, and Help. Now, many of those things are also on the sides of the software. So let's talk a little bit about the File menu. So the word File, okay, gives us several things in it. It gives us like New Page. You know, this is very similar to other, it's very similar to other softwares. Open, you can open a design in here. You can save and save as here. So this is very similar to many other softwares that you've probably used. I just wanted you to know when you save in this software, when you use the save function, save will save as a working file. And in this version, it does not do that in the online version. The working file is called CWPJ, PRJ, or something like that. It's Canvas Workspace project, basically, is what it is. So it's a working file that will not open in your scan and cut. So when you use the save or save as, it's going to save as that, and you can save it on your computer. And you want to do that because then you can open that up and use it later if you need to work on a project again and like add things or subtract things, then you have a working file so that you can actually use that. Okay. So that's what save and save as is. But then the next one down says import from your computer. So what that means is that is where we're going to bring in our SVG files or our FCM files. So that's actually bringing in the artwork file. So you may have, SVG files and different things like that that you need to bring in. And anytime you need to bring in an SVG, you can do that. When you click open, it'll bring in those working files. Those CWPRJ, I think is what it's called. We'll see it in here in a minute. And then you can import from your cutting machine. So you can actually, make a design on the machine, and then you can bring it in, and you can either bring in the FCM file that the machine produces, or you can bring in a scanned image from your machine. So that's the from your machine business. And you do have to have your machine connected, okay? And then the next one down is export, transfer, FCM file. That's how you get your design to your machine. So let me demonstrate here quickly. I am going to just let's just bring up a shape. Okay, so here's a design on my screen. And I can go now to File, Export, Transfer, FCM file. So I'll click on that. And then I can export my FCM file, and in other words, save it as an FCM file down to my computer. Okay. Can you not see on the left side? Somebody says you can't see the screen over. Oh, I made this small, so you should be able to. I can see it on my screen, Cindy. These items over here are actually just on my desktop. Because if I make it too big, I'm not sure that you're going to be able to see it. I'll try changing it and see if it makes any difference here in a minute. Okay, the other thing is transfer FCM via the internet. So like if you wanted to send it directly on Wi-Fi to your machine, you would choose that. And then you can also use a USB cable connected directly to your scan and cut, and then send it that way as well. Okay. So that there's 3 different ways. So that is also under file. That is how you would send your designs to your machine. File, export, transfer, FCM file, and then you have 3 choices on how to do it. Okay. We used to be able to transfer from the online version with the USB cable, and we can't anymore. It's only on this version. And I like the USB cable. You know, if you're sitting there and you have a cable hooked up, it's very fast. So, okay. So let's see. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything there. That's in that file menu. The next file menu over is edit. So here's edit. And these things are also going to be in the edit under properties on the right. If you could put the words, I'm not sure what you mean. So again, this is the downloadable desktop version. Okay. So edit, under edit are some of the things we can do to edit. These are typical editing items under edit menus in many, many softwares. Okay. Undo, redo, cut, copy, paste, duplicate. These are all ones you've probably heard before. Okay. Then when we get down here, you can resize, flip, align. You've probably heard of those before. And then as we get a little further down, there's some more specific items to cutting software, like process overlap. What that means is like weld, subtract, divide, that kind of thing. Those are a little bit more cutting machine items in there. Create an offset line, create a weeding box. So those are under edit. So that is mostly what's under that file menu. Okay, so we're at the top. Okay. Layer means, oops, here, there we go. Layer it does give you a few items that will be in the layers tab. And if you go to the right over here, there is a layers tab over here as well. And so this gives us some of the same functions that are over here on the right. It looks like a little bunch of pieces of paper stacked up on each other. Okay, so we'll talk about that in a minute. The next one is display. So display is going to give us some of those things like zoom in, zoom out, you know, zoom to object, you know, that kind of thing. I mean, a lot of you have seen similar things. You can change the unit. Like if you want to be in inches or millimeters, you can do that. You can show the rulers at the top and the bottom. So like if I click show rulers, it'll put the rulers up here at the top and the side of the screen. Okay. I don't usually do that because it makes me confused. So I usually don't use the rulers. So it's kind of a view menu. So I'm going to hide the rulers. Let's see what else is in here. You can hide the matte image. So I can actually take the matte image off and just have just a square in the middle. Okay. So it's in display. You can hide your grid. So if you don't want any grid, you can get rid of the grid and it's just a plain blank white paper. So that's good. So these are just like view items or display. In this case, I call it say display. I'm going to show the grid because I like the grid. And then snap to grid. So what snap to grid is it'll make everything stick to one of the lines on the mat so that it like sticks to it automatically. So some items I do like drawing lines and stuff, I often need that function so that I don't have to try to get stuff straight. So it'll automatically be straight because it clicks right onto those grid lines. Okay, so that's display. Let's see, premium. Premium will be different for everybody. And if you don't have the premium menu, it means you don't have any premium functions in your software. So if you're new and you haven't really, got much yet, you probably don't have anything here. So premium, I have a couple of premium functions, and then I'll show you the rest of mine here in a second. So I have the printable sticker and then the tiling function under my premium menu. Some of the other ones will be right here, and we'll talk about this along this middle line. So like next to my little shapes here, if I click the shut and then hit the shapes button again, see there's another whole line of icons right here. These are all premium functions along here. Okay, these are all ones that I purchased along here, and I have a bunch of them. So you may not have everything I have, just because I do have quite a few. All right, so that was premium. And then under help, this is some place that you can go to get also like online quick start guide. There's a little small manual for this. The online version has a better manual, I will say. So if you are using the online version, if you get that manual, that will help you. It'll actually help you some with this version, but the stuff is in a different place. So online quick guide. So there's about 7 or 8 pages. It goes through the registering and downloading and installing the software mostly. And then that will help you to get started. It also gives you online help for premium functions. So if you have some of these premium functions like the rhinestones or the printable stickers, enhanced image tracing, roll feeder, that's where you can go. So like if I click vinyl autoblade, let's say I want to click vinyl autoblade, it'll take me to the PDF file, and then I have the instructions for that particular function. If you own that, then you can download it and print it off. Okay, so I often download those and print them off when I need help. So that's nice to have those in there. Okay, let me go back to this. Sorry about that. All right, and then there's also some video tutorials. Now, I will tell you that the video tutorials that are on here are quite old. Most of them are several years old, and the software does look quite a bit different now. So if you watch some of these, you may have to find something because they have moved a few things around over the years. Okay. There's a support page. So the support page is basically on the Brother website, and it talks about your scan and cut. So if I click that, it'll take me to the Brother website and all the downloads, and here's all the different models of scan and cut. So if you need your scan and cut manual, you can get it there. If you most of them don't come with books anymore, unfortunately. So that's what that is. Okay. And let's see, help. Let's go back to help again. Let's see. Language settings, if you prefer to, speak a different language for the day. Proxy settings are a computer settings page. I very rarely have to go there. You can check for the Canvas Workspace update. It will normally do that if there's updates. It'll do that when you open your software, just so you know. And remember when we went to the account settings on the online version just a few minutes ago? We can get to that same exact page here. It's under help. So if you want to register your machine, if you haven't done it yet and you want to register, go to help, go down here where it says account settings. And if I click that, it's going to open up that same exact page that was on the online version. So here it is, a machine registration. You'd go down and register a new machine and so on. Okay. So that is the way to access it in this software. If you're on here and you need to go in and say my pattern collection, I need to activate a pattern collection. It's over here on the left. The premium function, it's over here on the left. Just click on there and then it walks you through how to do it. Like I have all these different premium collections already done. Okay. On here. So it's under help and account settings. You can log out here if you want to. You can check for the latest scan and cut updates. So if you're not sure if your machine's up to date, you can also check for the latest scan and cut update here. And then about Canvas Workspace, it gives you, the information there about, the version and all that. Okay. Oh, I see. Okay. Thank you for explaining that to me. I thank you very much. Yes. I use Yeah, that would be nice if they would do that. Unfortunately, you kind of have to guess which version you have to have in order to do what you're doing. Because there's a lot of the stuff now that only works on this version, but there's a couple things that only work on the online version. So yeah, I don't like the tabs too well. I wish they would put words here. So I get along pretty well now. I'm doing way better. But I would prefer that they put a word because I can read way faster than I can hover my mouse. So we got our little file menus up here. Okay. The next row down is icons. And these are some things that, undo, redo. We've seen some of those in the edit menu. Here is the selection tool. So we will use that. There's also a hand tool. And what that allows you to do is grab your whole screen and move it around. It's like a pan tool. I call it the pan tool. Okay. And then here's your zoom. You can zoom in. If you click that tool, I can zoom in like that. I can oops, get rid of that. Let me a second here. Let me go back to, and then the next one over is also zoom. So you can just bring it down to a percentage like that. So that's what that is. And it lets you go in and out so you can see things better. I'm going to bring it down just a little bit more so you can see the whole mat. There we go. All right. So that's that. Yes, that is true. That's because, Wanda, you are on a browser. How do we get the premium versions? The premium stuff is available from a brother dealer. There are some of the premium functions that are no longer available. So I do have some items available still, and I have some things on clearance because they have actually discontinued some of these premium things. And I wish they wouldn't because they're really nice stuff. Yeah, so some of them had like a kit, and then it had all the basic stuff to make the items like this, like the rhinestones, for instance. And then you would get a card that would give you the functions in the software. So I have the rhinestone software here in here too. Okay, Jane, Jane Berg, are you working on a Mac by any chance? If you're working on a Mac, yes, you probably do look different because the Mac version looks different than this. It's going to be similar, but it does look a little different. Yeah, I know. So in that little thing up under help, that online quick start guide, there is so Jane, you may possibly then not have the most current version of the software. So you might need to update, because I know mine's the most current one. But that help online quick start guide that I talked about earlier, it does have a little legend in here of all the icons, the names of them. So that would be something that'd be nice to have next to your computer. So that is in that. So go download that. All you have to do is click here and it'll take you right to it, and you can print it off. It's only about 7 or 8 pages. But that is really helpful. So, okay. So we talked about, our little lines under here. You have 2.6.1. I don't know what mine is. Let's look. Under help, it'll tell us what it is. 2.6.1. I don't know why yours looks different, Jane. This is the way mine always looks. I've been using it a lot lately, so this is the way mine's always looking. Sometimes I know people with Macs, they do look different. But I also have premium functions that you may not have. So some of my things will look slightly different because I do have some stuff that maybe you don't have. And so my software will look just slightly different. Okay, because I have a lot of premium functions. Okay, so let's look at the bars over here then. So normally when you open this up, so maybe this is what she's talking about. If I have not clicked anything on this left toolbar, I clicked it to get rid of it. And when I click it, this opens up. And if I click this, then it closes again. So that may be what you're talking about too, Jane. So this again is that pattern collection thing that we saw when the software opened up. Okay. And then the next one down is shapes. So if I click on shapes, it opens up this extra box here. And then all the shapes are in here. So like it says shapes, and if I scroll down, here's squares, rectangles, polygons, triangles, circles, ellipse, hearts. So let's bring a heart in. So you can just grab it and pull it in and drop it on your screen. like that. You can make this any size you want, like that. I'm going to leave a couple things up here because we're going to need them in a minute. Stars, arrows, others. So all of these are also in the software, or in the machine, I would say. So these are neat. So these are all in the machine also. Okay. So when you click on shapes, it opens up the second little thing right here. And that's why yours may have looked different. The next one down from that is borders. So then if you click this, these are also in the machine. So here's all these borders. So you can just go in here and you can find these really cute borders. These are really cute. Just grab it and pull it in. If you just click on it, it'll pop in as well. So either way, so here's borders. And let's see what else we got down here. The next thing is words. And these are great because there's a whole bunch of really nice, designed words. And there's just a very big variety of them. And these are also in the machine. Oh, okay. It could be the monitor. Yeah, because it would make a difference. So that these are really nice designs. So these are also in the machine. So the first 3 items are also in your machine. Okay. So now the next thing down is I might actually go back to a second here. Let's just talk about the shapes. We'll talk about this whole line. So the next one down says rhinestone. So if you don't have the rhinestone premium function, this will not show up. So these are all my rhinestone designs that I have. Just look at all these different ones. So these are all rhinestone designs. The next one down is my stamps. So I bought the stamp upgrade kit. These are all stamp designs. So you may not have all of these. This one is the line embossing. So they have an embossing kit, and this was line embossing and region embossing. So these are all designs that came in with that premium function. Then the next one down is foiling. So I bought the foiling kit. So here's all the cute designs that come in with the foiling. And the next one down is roll feeder. So here's they just had one that came free with roll feeder. And then if you look down that middle line all the way to the bottom, and again, you may not have all these because I have a lot of these premium functions. There's a little arrow at the bottom of mine. I have to click the arrow to bring it up because there's a couple more down here yet. So like this one here is piercing. There's a paper piercing one. And so these are all paper piercing designs. And then the next one, the last one I think is down here, the vinyl auto blade. And in the other video I made that I'm going to put up tonight, I use this vinyl auto blade premium function quite often. I'm not using the designs, but I did use the functions. So here's all these designs. So some of these you may not have. And yes, you can get some of these, but a lot of them have been discontinued. I will just tell you that a lot of these upgrade kits have been discontinued. So that's under shapes. So this is the shapes. So once you click shapes on the top left-hand corner here, or the second one down, I'm sorry, on the left, that opens up all these different little menus here. Okay. So if I click that again, it'll close those. Okay. So the next one down, I got to turn my page again, just a second here. I made some notes so I knew where I was going with all of this. The next one down, and this is one of the main differences between the online version and this PC version. The online version only has about 25 fonts in it. It does not use the fonts that are called TrueType fonts, or the ones that are on your computer. This version of the software will allow you to do that. So when I click text over here, and I come over onto my workspace and just click, I can type my name, okay, and click enter. And then here's my name. And we'll just make it a little bit bigger, like that. And if you look at the top then, this is where it gives you, see, once I type my name and it's selected, you can see the selection boxes around it. All of the stuff at the top opens up, and here's all my fonts. So the fonts, where do I buy what from? The premium functions, Terry, or the fonts? The fonts are free. We're mostly on my computer, and you can get lots of free fonts. The web version, Deborah, automatically updates itself. So this is the downloadable version. You have to update it, but the Autoline one automatically does it for you. So you don't have to worry about that one. But over here at the top, we're going to talk about the right-hand screen here in a minute. But at the top, see, look, here's all my fonts at the top. And the first 20 or so, I want to say 20 or so, are the ones that are in the machine, and they're also on the online version. So the premiums, Terry, we can still get some of them. So you can order them from us. We can get some of them. So if there's something special you want, let me know and I'll check and see if I can still get it. Okay. But some of these are, you know, like the first 20, 25 or so are actually in the machine and in the online version as well. But then when I get down to where it says all fonts right here, it's going to, and yours is going to look different than mine. Whatever you have installed on your computer for fonts will come up here. Okay. So what you do to download a font, like I do a lot of stuff from Dafont, DAFONT.com. You can download tons and tons and tons of free fonts. You install them in your font folder in your settings of your computer, and then they will show up here automatically. So you don't have to install them in the software. If you install them onto your computer, then they'll show up in anything else you use, like, you know, like Microsoft Word or other programs that use TrueType fonts. Okay. Cynthia, our store is called shieldsewingcenter.com. So we have a .com website, and you can also call us. We're in Iowa. So these are all fonts. So if I want to choose a different font, I can just go down and let's say I want to use, let's do a different font. So like I said, these are going to be different than on everybody's computer because you may not have the same fonts that I do. So I have tons of fonts. I do have several thousand fonts on here. So I have lots of fonts. And it's fun to go find them on Dafont.com is a good one. DAFONT.com. And it's a great place to go. And then you can go sometimes next to the font here at the top. It'll give you like some options. Like this one's compressed light. This one's compressed light oblique. So then it tilts it. So there's different things you can do here. Okay. And then one point, you can do different line widths here. Gives you the chance at the top to change the colors and to change what it does. So like this one is, you know, Cindy, I don't know that I do. I think I did one of my software classes that shows you how to install a font. So, but this then up here at the top, see, then I can make it a cut. I could draw it. So like if I wanted to make this my name a draw, so now when I take it to the machine, it'll draw it. So that's one thing you can do with this upper line here. Okay, so there's the fonts. The font tool. You can do so many things with text. And we'll get into that more with other things. So all the fonts can be sent to our machines to embroider. Not embroider. This is actually going to go to your Scan and Cut to cut. The embroidery fonts, yes, you can use these in embroidery software to make fonts to embroider in your machine. Yes. So I use these same fonts in my embroidery software as well. So yes, so it basically they're on your computer and they'll come up with any program that you have that will use TrueType fonts. So it's cool. Then you can use them. They're multiple use. You can use them with anything. So these will all come up in, say, my Perfect Embroidery Pro from Dime as well. So I use some of these same fonts. Okay, so let's see. I don't want to lose my place here. Okay, so then when we get down here on the left, we're going to go back to the left again. After text, and text, this is going to work a lot the same as most other text things that you use. So it's not that unusual. I'm going to go down below that and it says SVG. So this is import from your computer. Now remember, we did see that also under file, import from your computer. Okay. But you can also just use this little button, and I normally use this. So I'm going to click that and let's say I want to bring in a SVG file so that I can work with it. So I have an SVG file. I want to make it into an FCM so I have a little more openness to work with it. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to bring in, you can also bring in FCM files this way. So import from your computer. I'm going to go to this little basic class that we're doing right now. And this is a little SVG file that was a freebie on, I think it's called birdscards.com. It was a little, let's bring some of these things up here so you can see it. It's a rolled rose. Okay. So this is something now that if I brought this in, it was an SVG file, which is another type of cutting file. Okay. If you now want to send this to your machine, you would then take your file that I just brought in. I clicked SVG. You navigate here in this screen what you want to open. Okay. And then you click on it. And in this case, it'll probably look like your, it might look like your browser icon, but it's actually not. It's an SVG. And then you go open. Okay. That's how I brought this in. And then I can go file and I can import from my, oops, I'm sorry. I didn't want to import. I want to export to my machine. So I'm going to click export. And it says that there's some things outside. So I have a bunch of stuff sitting here. So we'll just take some stuff off. I'm going to leave a couple things on here because we'll need to do this in a second. Take a couple things off of here. It doesn't like it if things are hanging out on the sides of your mat. So there we go. Let's bring them on here. So like here. So now it's going to transfer everything that's on my mat. And I'm going to go to File, Export, Transfer FCM file. And then I can send it then down to my computer and save it as an FCM. I can send it via the internet to my machine that I have registered to my account here, or I can send it via the USB cable. Okay. I don't have my scan and cut over here so you can see that. I figured we were just working in the software tonight. Okay. So that is SVG. So when you click on the little SVG, it imports it from your computer. And in the next video that I made, I'll also put this up tonight, I worked exclusively with SVG files, and I use that icon a lot so that I would bring in my files. Okay. All right. So let's do, let's trace something. So the other thing that's really cool about the software, and you can do this in the machine, because remember, we have traced things in the machine also, but this little button here that looks sort of like a spade, okay, is a tracing function. So I can bring in just a picture, like a JPEG picture, and I can trace it and make a cutting file out of it. So I have, yours may look slightly different than mine because I actually have, actually it's going to look different in the next screen. So I've got an image in my computer, or you can bring an image in from your scan and cut. In this case, I'm going to bring it from my computer. I'm going to click the first button. I'm not sure. Oh, there we go. And then in that same little folder, I have my little scan and cut logo. So this is, we've scanned this before. That's on the little toolbox that somebody gets to win tonight. Remember to make your comments, and you get to win. You might get to win the little toolbox. So this is what we did with this, and we're going to click open. Okay. So when this opens, it opens up a tracing screen. Okay. It's actually, it walks you right through it. I am going to, I don't want the image, this first thing here, I don't want the image on the screen. I just want the trace. So I don't need the image. So I'm going to deselect that. And there's a couple different options for tracing. So if you click the little arrow here, I actually have the enhanced image tracing, and that is also an upgrade, and I have that. So yours may look just slightly different than mine. Okay. So I'm going to, it gives me a choice. You can either trace outer edge only. So with appliques, that's often how we do it. The next one down says trace areas by color. So in this case, I needed to trace, in other words, trace inside and outside. And I need that to do that because if you look over here in my window right now, can you see my scan and cut has a blue line around it, except the N doesn't have one, because I need that to trace also. Okay. So I'm going to choose trace areas by color. And I know this sounds weird, but that's how you would trace the outside of the design and the inside of the design. Okay, so I'm going to click that. The last item is my premium upgraded version of the enhanced image tracing. So we won't talk about that right now. That'll be a class all by itself. Okay. All right. Tells me how big it is. It's pretty big right now. And then how many colors. So in this case, I only have 2 colors. So that's the least it'll let you do. So I'm going to go all the way down to 2 here. And then I'm just going to click preview. And after I do that, look, the N is traced. See the blue on the N? So now the N is also traced. So I just need to tell it to trace inside and outside or by color is the way it tells you to do it. All right, so then I'm just going to click OK. That wasn't hard, was it? We just traced it. So let me pull these out of our way for a second so you can see my design. So here's my design. Okay. Now, if I try to select this, you'll see it's in several pieces. All right. And I don't know if you can see it too well on the screen, but there's some of the lines look darker than the others. Okay. So if you go to where the darker pieces are, for some reason, the tracing feature sometimes traces on the inside of the line and the outside of the line. And I think it's just because the line might be thicker or something. I don't understand, but I can see it. If you're looking at this on your own screen, you'll see that some of these pieces look darker. So it's actually got 2 pieces there. So if I click on this little center part here and I pull this down, see how there's some pieces underneath there? So it actually scanned it or traced it twice. Okay, so I'm just going to go hit undo here. Oops, there we go. So I can go in then and I can get those little pieces. I'm just going to grab that little inner piece of my A and delete it. So now there's just 1 there, see? And then if we go in, I'm going to have to probably move. Oh, I got it. So there's the N, the inside of the N. I'm just going to click that. But see, they're still there. And then I'm just going to select that whole thing. And then I'm going to right click. And I'm going to group, because if you can't find something, there's a lot of treasure under right click. So if you select something and right click, there's group, and I want to group it into 1 piece. So see how the box just goes around the whole thing? That way I can get that whole thing at once and I don't have to worry. Okay. And I might need to make it smaller. Obviously it's too big for my mat right now. So we'll just make it a little smaller. I just pulled in from the corner. If you want to make it as an exact size, I'll show you that in a minute, how to do that. Okay. So there is our trace. So that was what this little spade looking thing was on the side over here. Okay. And then let's go on down. Let's see. I'm just making sure I didn't miss anything. Okay. So like the next thing down is actually a drawing tool. So you would take your drawing tool and then you could draw lines and make your own designs. Okay, so this is the drawing tool. And this one, you double click to make it stop. And this one's called path tool or a drawing tool. The next one down is actually a freehand tool. So it's also a drawing tool. But it's like a pencil. So then you hold your mouse button down and you just drag it around, and then you can like write your name and make squiggles and all kinds of stuff. So that's what do they call it? I always forget what they call it. Freehand path. So it's more like a pencil. So I'm going to click undo and get some of this off of here. All right, let me click undo one more time. Undo is our friend, by the way. It's up here. So the little arrow is going back. And then the last tool on mine is a rhinestone tool. So if you don't have the rhinestone premium feature, you won't have this here. And what it means is when I click that, I can go in and put 1 rhinestone in at a time. See how it shows up a little circle? So I can go in and just add 1 rhinestone at a time if I need to. So sometimes I need to do that when I'm making rhinestone designs and like fill in a spot that's empty or something. Okay, so that's that toolbar along the left. So my goal with this was to show you what things are and kind of how they work. I don't want to go into everything in great detail, but I want you to know what some of the tools are and how you would use them. Okay. All right. So let's see here. Have to figure out where I want to go next. Oh, so we talked a little bit about exporting to our machine. I had export to machine. Now let's say I'm going to go ahead and take some of my little rhinestones off here. I'm just hitting undo. If I wanted to send this to my machine, whoops, second here. I got to get my select tool. If you keep putting rhinestones on, yeah, like a rhinestone cowboy, that's awesome. If you keep doing that, remember to go up and click your select tool so that you'll get rid of whatever tool you had before. I just accidentally forgot to do that. Okay. So now if I want to send it again, if I want to send my drawing or my scan and cut to my machine, I would go File, Export, and then I would get my little screen up and I could send it as an FCM down to my computer, or I could transfer it to the machine via the internet or via USB cord if I have one plugged in. So that's how you get stuff to your machine. Okay. All right, let me go to the next page. Now, since I have done something here that I may need to work with later, I might want to go up to File at this point with my design. I might want to go to File, Save As, and let's just call it Test. And then it says here, this is the working file. So if I click on this little arrow, it only gives me that working file. So I can only save it as a working file. If I need the FCM, I need to export it. Okay. So it is a CWPRJ. It's in other words, Canvas Workspace project. That's what it is. Okay. And that is our working file. You always want to save in this because you might need to come back to it later and work with your software, you work with your design, and then you can go back into it as a actual design file so that it's easier to get into and work and make editing, do editing with it. So that's something you always want to do. So I'm just going to save it on my desktop and just go down here and I called it test, and I'll just save it on the desktop. So now this is saved. And so I can open this up again later and say, so in this case, let's say I'm done with this one, but I needed, oh, shoot, I forgot to do something. Have the rhinestone kit from long ago. Yep. So yes, the rhinestone kit is still the same, if I can still get it. I'm not sure if I can still get it. I'll have to look. So let's say, oh, shoot, I forgot to do something on that design I just did. So then I would go to File, Open. And Open will allow you to get to your working files. It does not allow you to bring in FCM files or SVG files. Open brings in this working file that we work with. Okay. And so it's very important that you bring that in, that you save that so you can get back to it later. Yeah, I wasn't sure, Anne, because I still might have one at the store, but I'm not sure. I wish they would still do it. It is a very nice kit, and they had some really nice designs with it. You might still, I'll look and see if we can still get them. And if we can't, you might still be able to like pick up one somewhere. So I don't know. I'll have to look and see because they did do a lot of changing in their stuff. So, okay. So is there any questions about, yes, I will post the site. It's shieldssewingcenter.com. And I'll do that in the description also. Okay. So we did save as, save your working files. Okay. And that's very important. And then you can you can do File and Export to send your cutting file. You cannot use it on the online version. Somebody asked if you could use that working file in the online version, and no, you cannot. No, you cannot. Yes, the video will be here on YouTube. So Gifted Hands by Chrissy. So it must be Chrissy. So yes, the video will be on YouTube after this is done. Okay. All right. So now let's talk a little bit about the properties box on the right. So a lot of the things that we've seen over here at the top and on the left are also on the right. Okay. So for instance, if you look on the right over here, everything's grayed out right now. This where it says properties here. Do you see how everything's grayed out? But if I select something, whatever is available in this part of the properties box will highlight. Okay. Jane, what's the difference between the online and the desktop version? This is the desktop version. But there are a lot of things you cannot do in the online version that you can in this version. Okay. So like over here, I just selected my heart and I'm going to make sure I got, yes. So I have everything. I have this listed here. Over here, it gives me the option again, or at the top. See over here in properties, it says cut. So I could tell it to draw, cut, draw. You may not have pierce. I have the piercing kit. So that's why it says pierce here. But you can also do that at the top of the screen. See where it says cut up here at the top. So it says cut, draw, or pierce. So when you select something and put the blue boxes around it, then you can change things. It also over here in properties on the right, lets you choose your fill color, your line color. So like if you wanted your heart to be red, you would choose the little button here and choose a red and click OK. So there's a red heart now. It's not going to cut out red. It's just going to cut out around the outside edge. But sometimes it's nice to have a fill there so you can see what you're working with. But it's also at the top. So when I select it, did you notice that it showed up at the top here? Here's my fill color and my line color. Okay. The other thing that's down here is line. That's also at the top. See where the line is right here at the very top. Dash pattern means that if you need to have a line, like when I cut out this heart, I probably just want a regular cut line, right? But sometimes you need it. Let's say we need there to be a straight line through the middle of our heart. That's going to make it fold in the middle. So if I go back and get my little drawing tool here, path tool, and let's say I just put a little path down through the middle here with that line. Oops, got to double click it. There we go. Now I can choose that line. You can see it's blue because that one is already selected. I can go over here to the top to where this line thing is, and I can tell it to do a dashed line because there's several different dashed lines. The one I use a lot for folds is this first one. Okay. And then I could also, and then see it changed over here on the right on the properties page too. So that's the other place you could change it. Okay. I often use the first one. Okay. So now when I go to cut that, it's going to, you probably seen cutting this way that it kind of picks up the blade and it'll go click, 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 click down, and it'll make all the little cuts. Okay. So that's how you can make a fold is use your little drawing tool, put it down like through the middle of my heart there, and then make it a dashed line. So that's a way to make a fold. Okay. Let's see what else we got over here. There's some text things in this first properties box. So when you need to change your little tabs, the top right-hand corner over here, this properties, that's the first tab that we're on right now. And then we'll click down and go down through them so you know what they are. But I don't have any text on here. So let's bring some text up because there's some text things here too. And I'll just go click on I hit my text tool and I clicked on my screen, and let me just type my name again. Okay. And then let's make it a little bigger so you can see it. Okay. And let's see. So now over here in the properties box on the right, see there's also then fonts. So here's the fonts. They're also at the top. So most of the stuff opens up at the top. That also opens up over here on the right. So it just depends on what works for you. If you like to work over on the right or if you want to work on the top. Most of the stuff's there. Not all of it, but most of it. So like here's the font. So then I can choose my font. So if I wanted a different one, I could go up to Berlin. Let's say I want it to be Berlin. So there's Berlin font. I could make it italic if I want. This one has italic as one of the options. Here's the character spacing. So what that means is it'll make your letters go further apart or closer together. So it's kerning. In other words, it's kerning, if you've heard that term before with lettering. So it brings them closer together. Okay. And then when we get down here, the last part of it shows horizontal and vertical alignment. And what that means is, let's say we have 3 or 4 items here. Here's our heart. Let's get rid of our dash line for right now, if I can get a hold of it. Sometimes it's hard to get a hold of. Yep. I'll just draw a box around it. There we go. Okay. So let's say we have this item and my name. I'm going to click both of them at the same time. I'm going to hold my control key down and then click the second one. So now they're both, selected. Sorry. My hand was too far over to the right. Okay. Now let's say that I want, oh, you know what? That horizontal vertical alignment and the path direction, that's for something else. I'm going to show you that at the end because I learned something new in the software last week when I was getting ready for this class. So thank you very much, guys. But we can also then, we'll get into this part in a second. We're going to go to the next page. We'll come back to this other bottom part at the end here because I found something new and I'll show you how to do it. So the next one down is edit. So remember, we also have edit at the top in the file menu. So a lot of those things are also over here. So here's edit. And let's say we have my name and my heart selected. And this then tells me the exact size of it. So if you have an exact size that you want those 2 items to be, you would tell it, I want it to be a total of 6 inches wide only. And then I could tell it 6. If maintain aspect ratio is on, it will then bring it down in aspect ratio. Okay, so it'll come down together, both measurements. You can, the next thing down is transform, like angles. Let's say, oh, I want to go. Oh, I'm sorry. Are you seeing? You shouldn't be seeing the fan anymore. Are you still seeing the fan? Karen, I don't think you should be seeing my fan. I have a fan on in front of me because I'm very warm. So I'm sorry. The fan should not be, you should not be seeing the fan anymore because I don't have it. You're seeing my screen. So when I get down here to like transform, I can go 90 degrees. So I can flip things. I can, let's go back. I'll hit undo. I can flip it. Oops, got to select them again. You can flip it the other way. So like reverse it. You can flip it upside down. Okay. So that's all there. Okay. And then this is where you can do your alignment. So let's say we have these items and we want them all to be lined up on each other. Okay. So I can select them again. And I can go align objects. So I can align them to the left. I can align them to the center. I can align them to the right. I can align them to the top. Okay. Or let's say I want them lined up like on a vertical center. So there's vertically centered. Okay. So you can do that and they move, you can see. And then I can also distribute items next down. Would it, like, let's say I have 2 items. Okay. And then I have a third one down here and I just have it kind of down here at the bottom. And if I select all of these items and I click on this distribute space, it will distribute those 3 items evenly upon each other. Okay. So that's kind of cool. That's a neat little thing. All right. And then when we get down here, this is edit. And we saw some of these under the menu at the top as well. Okay. These items then, let's say I want my Janice to be in the middle of my heart. So let's make the heart just a little bigger so you can see it. Okay. And I'm going to put my lettering in here. Okay. Bring it down a little bit. So I'm just pulling things in and out. Okay. And these objects here will Oh, okay. You started it over. Yes, I know the fan was on at the beginning, and I'm sorry. I tried to get that off quickly because I knew it would be distracting, but I'm so hot. It's so warm in my sewing room. I have to have the fan. I have to have air moving all the time. So, all right. So these shape things. What this means is it allows us to do things and like put them together. So let's say we have this heart and this, my name. And if I click weld, it's just going to weld both of those things together. And now I can only see the heart. Okay. I use that a lot when I'm doing stuff like I want to do different shapes of things. So like, let's say if we do the square in the heart. Then if you click weld, I mean, you have to click them both at the same time, get them both selected, and then use weld. Then it welds the heart and the square together. Okay. So that's kind of cool. And then this divide will divide it. And I use divide when I have like, like let's put Janice in here and that might help us. Now, did you notice that Janice went behind? And there's another thing you can do here. I'm not sure where it went. Let's see. It's in the layers panel. Arrange. Layers, arrange. You can bring that piece to the front because then you can see it. So that's under layer, arrange. But so if I have Janice and I have my heart shape here, and if I click divide, then see what it did? It took the Janice out of the middle of that. So that is a really cool, those are all really cool tools that you can use to make special effects and to bring things together. So I'm not going to go through everything with you tonight, but I wanted you to know what some of these things did. Don't be afraid. Go in and click. Okay. So go in and click what you are doing. Okay. So go in and click and don't be afraid that you're going to make a mistake. It's just fine. Thanks, Cindy. I know you have to probably get up and go to work in the morning, don't you? Okay. Then down here under edit, okay, is also offset. And what that means is I like offset because like I like to use my letters. Like, let's see if we can get to my words here. Sorry. Let's get rid of the words here. Move some things around. Okay. So let's say we wanted to take my name, except I don't want my scan and cut. There we go. So let's say I take my name. I'm going to right click and group. Maybe. Oh, deselected. Sorry. Let's do this again. We need to get scan and cut out of the way here. I have a little trouble selecting in this program. It's just the program. I don't know why, but I've always had trouble. So I'm going to go ahead and group this together. Why it keeps doing that, I don't know. Let me see if I can get it. This time I'm going to right click. Nope, it's not letting me right click. Stop that. All right, come on. All right, group. Let's group it. There we go. Did it group this time? Yep, there we go. So now it's grouped. Remember, this is it's still online, even though it's on your desktop. So sometimes if you have a quirk going on, it's probably something to do with your internet. So don't be worried. Sometimes something's weirdo happens. So, okay, so here's my Janice. And let's say I would like to have a really cool outline around that so that I have a layer underneath to put on I'm going to put it on a water bottle. So I can click this offset button and I can do an outward offset. That's kind of big. So let's make it a little smaller. And then I want round edges, and then I'm going to click OK. And what it does then is it makes an outline around the outside edge of that design. So it's really cool. Like you might see it a little bit better. Let me grab that circle again. Sometimes you can see it better if you have like a circle or something. You can see it a little bit better. How about a square? Look at the square. And then I'll do the same thing, offset. And then I'm going to make an outward offset I want these with a square. I'm going to make it a bevel edge. So it's going to be squared off on the corners and click OK. And then there's my second layer. So then they're perfectly centered on each other. So that's a cool little thing. I use that quite a bit for different techniques. So you might want a layer of any kind. So you can make multiple layers and do really pretty shapes around things. Okay. So that's offset. And then the weeding box. at the bottom is part of the vinyl auto blade upgrade. So what it does is, let's say you're making this, let's say we're making our scan and cut logo out of vinyl. And if I click weeding box, it'll just add a little box around that so that I can just cut it out, and then I can weed that little section out first, and it makes it easier to weed. I don't use it very often, but that's one of the new things that added. Okay, so let's see. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay, so then I'm going to go down. The next one down you may not have. Again, this is the rhinestone feature. So like I can go in and let's say I want my squares. Let's get rid of one of the squares here. Get rid of one of them. And let's say I want my square to be a rhinestone design. And it gives me the choice of sizes. SS10 is very common. And I can tell it to be a outline. I just want it to be out around the outside edge. So I'm going to click outline. And now I have my little rhinestones all the way around the outside edge. And then if I click down here, it tells me how many rhinestones I used for that particular design. Okay. All right. So that is the rhinestone feature. Now, again, you may not have that, but that's one of the premium things I have. But let me show you the one thing that I use a lot now. And you have to do this in the, you have to, whoops, I don't want to do that. I want to keep my scan and cut up there. There we go. The next layer down, the next icon down is layers. Okay. Layers is going to give us all of our items that are on the screen, one item at a time. And the next video that I did that I will also upload tonight, I will use this a lot, because the other thing you can do, so let me get the rhinestone design here. I'm just going to delete that one for right now. And we'll get this one and bring it over here. Okay. But if you look here, like here's my grouped item. That is my scan and cut logo that I did. So I can turn pieces on and off of that with the little eyeballs. Okay. So sometimes I need to do that because let's say I want to turn all of that off. And here's my weeding box. Okay. But I just want to send my flower to my design, to my machine, I should say. So I go to I got everything else turned off except my flower. And then I can go to File, Export. And then it says, warning, the objects that are being sent are hidden. That's fine. I only want that one item. So let's say we're doing an item that has multiple layers and we only need one thing at a time. Then we can open it up. We can watch this little layers panel and we can turn the items on and off. So in the next video, I use that a lot with doing some of the stuff. Okay. This is like awesome. And you do not have this on the online version. You cannot use this part in the online version. You can still get to the layers, but you got to move them apart on the screen. So this is way easier. Okay. Then you could turn it back on again. It's like if I want to send my scan and cut stuff, I'm going to put my scan and cut thing here. Okay, I'm going to turn all the eyeballs back on, and then I'm going to turn off my flower. Well, see, now the scan and cut's the only thing that's there, and then I can send that to my machine, and it'll only send that. It will come up with that warning. That's fine, but it will just send that one item. Okay? So that is a very important, you will find that is a very important tab because you will use it a lot, because as I'm doing more paper crafting, I'm finding that I have to use that in order to send my designs in pieces to the scan and cut. So like, let's say I'm doing something that has 12 layers and they're all on top of each other. I can go in and change the colors, and then I can send each color to my mat separately. And this is where you would do that. You can also change what it does. So like if you need to say my weeding box needs to be a drawing line instead, I can click draw there instead of cut. So it lets you do that here as well. So it comes in very, very handy. Okay. All right. So now the last thing over here on the right says artboard. And I'm like, what is an artboard? I have no idea what this means. So I clicked on it. I'm like, oh, it's my mat size. So the mat size is here. So artboard or mat size. So here's my mat size 12 by 12. Let's say I really want it to be 12 by 24. So I could bring that up as well. Now I have probably a couple of extra things that you may not have on yours. This is part of, can you send your scan and cut designs to Brother Design Center to not, I don't think you can send them directly from the software, no. If you have the My Connection, then with your Luminaire, then there is a way to do it, yes. Okay. But under this artboard, you may only have a couple items. I have one called custom size for tiling. In the next, is that layering feature a regular? It is a regular feature. The layering tab is in everybody's software. What I'm showing you right now may not be in yours. So it is that layers feature is in the regular software. Yes. So if I have, in the video that I'm going to be uploading tonight as well, I'm going to show you how to use this custom size mat, because I'm finding that I'm doing a lot of crafting and some of the designs I'm using are just so big that I have to use this custom size for tiling function. And that is part of the vinyl auto blade upgrade. So I will also put a link to that, because we have those in the store and you can order them. And if you need to do some of this more advanced stuff, then you will be able to get that function. I didn't really know what tiling was until I until I read the little thing, under help over here. It has help tiling, help quick reference. Let's see, where is that? Online help for premium functions and final auto blade. So I went and read that and I was like, oh, now I know what it is, because I understand it. So that is part of that artboard thing, is a custom mat. Okay. Also, your roller, your roll feeder is also here. So if you don't have that roll feeder activated, or if you don't have one, then you would not have that either. You would just have the 12 by 12 and the 12 by 24. Okay. So that's over here. Gives us some other little things in this layer artboard thing. You can show your mat image. Again, that was up under display. It was over there too. You can turn that off if you want. You can turn off your grids, that kind of thing. So, and snap to grid is also here. Okay. So that's what artboard means. In other words, it's your mat sizes. Okay. Now, let's see if I remember how to do this. I learned something new doing this class for you. I was very excited about it. I learned how to curve text in this software. I knew that they had added it, but I'd never figured out how to do it. And it's actually kind of neat. So it's under, I have to remember, it's under the first tab over here. Okay. And you can go, I got to find the little icon, just a second. I got to find it. Is it under edit? Yeah, it's under edit. So it's under the second tab over here. And see this little thing that says text down here? Okay. So what I'm going to do, let's say I want to make curved letters. I'm going to show you one more thing. I don't want to keep you too long. Okay. So here is my circle. Let's go back quickly to the 12 by 12 mat, just to make it a little bigger. Okay. So here's our circle. So let's say I want to have my name. I'm going to go get some text and just type my name again. Okay. And I don't like that font. Let's try a different font. I'm going to go up and get a different one. Something a little plainer for this one. Okay. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to select that and my circle at the same time. I'm going to go back to edit. And it is, oops, not edit. It's the first one. I always forget which tab it's on. No, it was under edit, sorry. So we have them selected, and then I'm going to go down here. See where the little T is with the little curvy thing is? You just click that, and it makes your letters go around your circle. And then if you want them on the top, I just move it around the circle. See? So there's my letters on the top. Okay. And then these other little buttons down here, convert to shapes, means that if you click that, it actually will get rid of the circle, because normally we won't need that, but it just leaves the letters then with the curve. Isn't that cool? Okay. Now let's see if I can figure out the other one. So let's go back, bring our circle up here again. And let's say I draw another circle. So let me bring in another circle. And let's say we wanted design, like your lettering on the bottom and the top. So let's say, I'm going to go get my text. And I'm going to go to, if I can type my last name. There we go. The software's being a little quirky tonight. All right, and then let's get the first one out of the way. Sorry. I always have trouble getting anything to move. Here we go. And then I get this one, and I can select this one. So this circle, and I can do the same thing. I'm going to do the text, okay? But then we need it to be in a different orientation because we don't want it to look like it is on the screen. So this one is under this first part. So see where it says horizontal alignment? It's also at the top now. Up here at the very top, it says horizontal alignment. And so what I've learned is if I click around on here, you can click and get these to flip over, because it'll flip over. And, these are all the different options available for the kinds of lettering that you want to do, and it'll make it go different directions. So you can click these all around and figure out how to make it go on the bottom. So I just started playing around. I'd never even done any of this with, there was a really, really good video with Julie Fayfan Balsler, and she did this, and it was just really easy and it was fun. And so I played around with it until I got it, but I don't know if I can do it tonight on the spur of the moment, because these were, let's see, this was on the, we wanted them, she put them in the middle of the design, and then she changed the path. There it is. She just put it in the middle, okay? And then she changed the path direction. So instead of going from left to right, it went from right to left. So see now how it's on the bottom now? My name's on the bottom. And then I can go up here, and I can get this one. I can put this one in the middle too. And now if you put the two circles together, then there's my name. And then you can spread them out. Oh, I don't want to do that one. Let's see, you can kern them. So if you move this, and you can move them out further, so it's in the under kerning. Let me see. Oops, I don't think I have the whole name. There we go. Right here, it'll let me spread my letters apart. This little number up here will let me spread my number apart. It's also character spacing down here. And then you can do this one also. So, oops, I didn't get my name. There we go. And then I can do the same thing here. See, I can move my letters more around like that. And then I can just, then I can select them. And if I go to, let's see, where is that part? Oops, it must be on the other page. I forget. It's either on the first or the second tab. I keep forgetting because I haven't done this too many times. It must be in the second one. Then I can go down here, and I can convert to shapes. And then what it does is it takes the circles away, and then it just leaves me the letters in the shape that I wanted them to be. Isn't that neat? So I'll do another class. We'll actually make something with that, but I just thought that was really cool. So I learned something new too. I'm not very good at it yet, but I'm getting better. So it was something they added a year or so ago, and I've just never figured it out. And so I watched that video, and it was great. Love the array button on your embroidery machine. Oh, yeah, sort of. Yeah, it's like the array button on the embroidery machines. Yep. They just call it something else. And then when you hit the convert to shapes, it takes the shape that you put it on. away and just leaves the letters. So like if you wanted to do this, see, then I could take my letters here. Let's say I kind of turn this. So then you could make your letters go this way, and like this one, I could bring it over here and make like it looks like a roller coaster. So here's my first name and my last name. And then it would be like in a line like that. Isn't that cool? So it was really fun. I learned something new too, because I hadn't tried it yet. And I was very excited to learn how to do it. So I just, with these, the bottom one, you have to click, you have to have it go the opposite direction, and you have to flip it down. So just click those little buttons at the bottom of the main screen here until you get the one that's the right orientation you want. That's what I did until I got it right. Do I have the super sticker feature on your channel? No, I don't, Krissa. I don't. So isn't that cool? So yeah, so I thought that was neat. And then you could actually group these two things together. Isn't it neat to have your name like that? And then you could just cut it out and put it on something. I just thought that was cool. So I'm going to, if you right click, again, if you select the two items together, right click, and you can group. So if you can't find something, fit to path is also under right click. So that's another way to get to things. So if you're not sure, right click and see what you get. There's always kind of things, but isn't that neat? So that was something, that was the last thing I wanted to show you. It was something new I learned. So I'm sorry I fumbled a little bit, but okay. So what does everybody think of Canvas Workspace on your computer? It's taken me a long time. I've been resisting this software. I am now using it pretty regularly, actually. So because I've been doing a lot of things that I needed to. So the other video that I'm going to put up tonight for you is using the layering and also the tiling feature. So if you don't have that tiling feature, I'll show you how to use that as well. Because for some of the stuff I've been doing, I have to use the tiling to get it to work correctly. Okay. So let me go ahead and bring up me, and we'll have a drawing. Let's have a drawing. You guys have been so patient with me tonight. Thank you so much. So let me hit my stop the screen here. Okay. So, and I am sorry that the fan's up here. So I'll try to tip this down so it's not quite so annoying. But I have to have some air. I'm always so warm. So thank you very much. I hope this helped you. This software is really awesome. And I didn't really realize how much I needed to be using it until recently when I started doing more paper crafting, because I've really had to use it in the paper crafting. So, okay. So the drawing tonight is going to be for the scan and cut toolbox and one of the little table tents that says any day spent sewing is a good day, with the little flowers. And I cut those out with the scan and cut also with the rotary blade. Okay. And I am going to do the drawings. Everybody ready? We're going to do the drawing. Now, if you win, if you're from outside of the country, I can't ship outside of the country. So let me know. Most of you are probably in the States here, and I will ship this to you. You will need to either personal message me through Facebook or email me your mailing address to janshieldsewing@gmail.com. Okay. And that's my email where you can email me or just personal message me through Facebook, through the group. Okay. All right. So give me a second. I've got this cool little tool that has been taking your names and jumbling you up in a little bowl here. Okay. Yeah, I have been resisting it, the software for a long time, and I'm finally getting used to it. And I actually really like it now. There's a lot of things you can do in it that you can't do in the other. And I still use the other. If I just need something quick, I still like that software very much. And you can use it on your tablet if you need to. So, okay. So let me I'm going to hit the draw button. Here we go. So let's see who's going to win tonight. Oh, Francine Franklin. Francine, are you still here? Francine, I'm going to write her name down so I don't forget. Francine Franklin is the winner tonight of the Scan and Cut Toolbox and the little table tent. So if you're here, Francine, send me your email or email me or message me through Facebook your mailing address, and I will mail these to you tomorrow. So put them in a little box or a little bag for you. So congratulations, Francine. Okay, so the next class will be in June. We're gonna May has five Wednesdays and 5 Thursdays, so we will not have class for 2 weeks. We're not going to have class till the first week in June, which will be what day? I have to look at the calendar here. June 5th will be the next class, live class. I'm going to have some other videos for you during that time, so you'll have other videos to watch. But the next live class will be June 5th, and I am working on another settee pillow for you. So there'll be a new summer settee pillow. I'm ready to start sewing. I got it digitized, and I'm ready to start sewing. So I will give you, I'll get all that uploaded and show you as quickly as I get it done. And that will be the next class is June 5th. We'll start working on the new summer settee pillow. So, okay. So if anybody needs anything, you can always message me through Facebook. You can send me messages on even on YouTube. You can email me at janshieldssewing@gmail.com. And I will see you in a couple weeks, and we will do our little pillow. So thanks, everybody. Have a great day. Bye-bye.